Hello. How you doing? How you doing? Um, Welcome to the Adonai Community Mission #1, Orlando, Florida. Adonai Community Mission #2, Trenton, New Jersey. Adonai Community Mission #3, coming soon, Virginia. And also in conjunction with Adonai Community Mission #1, which is the nonprofit arm, a non-for-profit entity, but our for-profit entity. So it's like a husband and a wife. Our for-profit entity is I.T.B. Break the Cycle, LLC. Our for-profit entity, where we conduct our day-to-day business, is I.T.B. Break the Cycle, LLC. All right? A husband and a wife, a marriage of service, a marriage of life saving, a marriage of wellness. What I'm going to show to y'all is the history. So, first of all, this is orientation. Today is the second day of orientation for all of those that got hired. This is the first batch of new hires. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm in the process of outsourcing everything other than the day to day programming that I have created over the years. And so I'm in the process of documenting as a last will and testament. Because my grandfather and my grandmother did this for my older sister Terry and myself. My grandfather, Frank E. Leggett Jr., and my grandmother, Aura Lillian Leggett. They created a real estate investment group. My grandfather was the one in this span of our families, 4 generations. So his great grandfather was down in South Carolina. But this 4 generation of our family moved and was rooted in Trenton, New Jersey. So before moving to Trenton, New Jersey, we were in South Carolina and Richmond, Virginia. And the same exact resources and fundamentals and full ownership and community development and spiritual development. Our 4 generations in Richmond, Virginia, and South Carolina did the same thing. But then our family moved north to begin all over again in Trenton, New Jersey. Then my great grandfather, Frank E. Leggett the first, my grandfather, Frank E. Leggett Jr., both had large families. Well, had large families. Frank E. Leggett the first had large family in Trenton, New Jersey. He began this four generations of Leggetts in Trenton, New Jersey. And I am the fourth in the line of the 4 generations from Trenton, New Jersey. And unfortunately, the third Frank fumbled. So I spent my whole young adult life honoring my grandfather and grandmother and recapturing and redeveloping the community resource and development angel investment group that they created called L&W Enterprises. And so the reason I'm doing orientation this time, my HR department will do it from here on out, is because I have a business attorney. I have several community partners that I've been working with here in Orlando. I have several business partners and several nonprofit organizations that we have done with all throughout the world, in Africa, in Haiti, in the Caribbean, in Orlando, in Chicago, in Huntsville, Alabama, Trenton, New Jersey. And so all of my partners are going to make a decision based off of this information as you make a decision. And everybody is going to decide if they want to double down and reinvest. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to join this team. That's all this is. You can take advantage of the opportunity or you can miss it. Same thing with those who invested with us in the past, but most importantly, my attorney is going to document that I am handing off assets to my children that I went back and personally rebuilt and reestablished. So now my children can never, ever, ever, ever have anybody come and tell them that they are common. Nobody can ever tell my children. My attorney is documenting. The reason I'm putting this in videos is because it is being documented. No other family member can ever come to my children or my wife and tell them, because this same attorney has documented every move that I have made here in Orlando, Florida. There are multimillionaires, and there are multi-million dollar cutting edge facilities out of what my family has personally invested here in Orlando, Florida. And so this orientation is because you have put in an application, and I am going to simply document exactly what we've done, exactly what we're doing now, and what we're going to do in the future. The reason Mom Harris is so important is because my grandmother and my mother had the same exact vision, made the same exact sacrifices, in the same exact city. And while the whole world has changed, and while so-called religious institutions that our families are a part of have totally changed, my grandmother and my mother can't testify for themselves, but Mom Harris is a witness. And so when me and my older sister Terry, we add our testimony, it makes it legal and binding. You got to have two witnesses or something to be official. So this will is official because Mom Harris still testifies of what Evelyn Webb, my mother's mother, my grandmother on my mother's side, what Ora Leggett, my grandmother on my father's side, what Frank Leggett, what Beverly Leggett, what Mom Harris has done and what she is doing and will continue to do testifies. And so when all of these other people do different things, and when I show you the amount of revenue in wellness, in the wellness industry, Mom Harris has run a organization called the 50 Plus Club for the Allegheny East Conference. The Allegheny East Conference is the same body of churches that covers New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, over 150 churches. She ran a health initiative for 12 years. So what this company will be doing is continuing that work of our people all around the world are crying and crying and crying for wellness, for health. The baby boomers trying to extend their lifestyle. All of these groups, and what you will find is my family are the original individuals who brought this lifestyle to the world in the 1830s. Somehow Oprah Winfrey does some videos in 2015, and now suddenly groups that lived their whole lives eating chitlins and eating everything, now all of a sudden everybody's health conscious, everybody's but nobody is taking full ownership of any of this. And that's what this is. That's what this is. This is taking full ownership of the lifestyle that we brought to the world. So here I'm showing you, this is ADP. I.T.B break the cycle. Okay. These are the employee profiles of the applicants going through orientation right now. So if anybody wants to be able to prove that you have employment, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can log in, punch in, how you can take this and show this information to whoever you need to. This is employee number two. These are all of the individuals that we sent applications to, and other people are putting in applications as we speak. Simply confirming that this is not a gimmick, a ploy. I'm going to take you through our company missions. I'm going to take you through the contracts, the physical contracts that we have. Physical contracts that we have. This is a telecommunications company, a cell phone company. Our current business partner sells these phones all over the world outside of Africa. And uses the revenue to support missions in Africa and do evangelistic series in Africa. They currently have retail cell phone locations in the Dominican Republic, and I have been asked because my background is in retail, I've been asked to help them create a model that would expand the retail operations, which would also expand the mission that they can do because they use the revenue from the selling of the phones to be able to support missions into Zimbabwe, Kenya, and South Africa. The whole month of May last year, revenue from cell phones, retail operation in the Dominican Republic, throughout the Caribbean, and wherever we can expand our retail operations, our business partner takes those funds and puts it into Ray of Light Community Resource Development Center. And then I was asked to take a look at the operation with my background and see if I could apply my retail background to help expand so that we can expand the mission. The answer is yes. I've come up with a solution. That's why we're hiring, because we need more people to help with that expansion. That's one contract. That's just one of many that I'm going to show you in orientation. The biggest contract, there is a crisis with inmates. There is a crisis with inmates after COVID, and there's a crisis with homelessness after COVID. There's a crisis with Department of Children and Family Services all throughout Florida, who has young people who have not been adopted. No family has adopted them while they were in the system. They don't have any parents. They're at the age of 19. And because they haven't found a family that has picked them up, there is a crisis in the Department of Children and Family Services, because if you aren't in an active program, like a transitional program, and if no family has picked you up, the Department of Children and Family Services can no longer keep them on the benefits, meaning they can't stay in the houses of the Department of Children and Family Services. They can't keep receiving the money. They can't anything. So the state of Florida is desperately looking for organizations with transitional housing, with transitional social programs, with transitional development programs to take these individuals who have been foster kids all their lives, who have many, many, many different issues, and put them on a path to be made whole. Every county in the state of Florida has this crisis. Every county in the state of Florida has a crisis with inmates. Just Orange County alone, where we operate, has 800 inmates that they could release. But because they don't want the 800 to contribute to the homeless crisis on the streets, they have over 500 people locked up who have served their time, but because there is no affordable housing and they don't want homelessness to explode, they're in jail. They're in jail with murderers, killers, individuals, some who may have been in jail for minor marijuana charges, served their time. They may have had trouble with drug addiction, Who knows? And all they need is some type of social services to help them address the drug addiction or the anger management or the mental health issues, but they could come out. But because there is no affordable housing solution, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in one county are behind bars with murderers. So what's going to happen to their mental health? What's going to happen to their lifestyle when they're around individuals when they went in for a petty thing, but they're doing no? Yes, this is the crisis that we have stepped into. These counties and these states, they have money to pay for individuals who would just be willing to do the work that so-called Christians claim. That is the work of the least of these our brethren are those who have been left for dead in the highways and the byways. That's what the supposed gospel is about. And so Miss Harris with Adonai Community Mission Number 1 has said, yo, we want to provide the health services for your people. We want to provide the health services for all of these left groups that have been left behind. And Break the Cycle LLC has said, we want to provide the gainful employment with our various partners that have various businesses and are doing business all around the world already. And we're just going to connect the dots and we're going to provide gainful employment for all of these groups. We're going to house them. We're going to provide the day-to-day social programs. We're going to, once again, my attorney is documenting this. This is a last will and testament. I'm going to show you what my family has invested in, the assets that we have invested in, the assets that we have. The only part left is to have angel investors like my grandmother and grandfather who say we moved up here from the South, but we're coming into this neighborhood and we're here to develop this neighborhood. And we're going to invest and we're going to control land and resources. Miss Harris has a series of Harris houses, the same transitional houses that I'm talking about. 221 Walnut Avenue. We will be renovating. That's Adonai Community Mission Number 2. 221 Walnut Avenue in Trenton, New Jersey. We will be doing a renovation and a rehabilitation immediately. But during orientation, we're going to do a 90-day orientation, not a 90-day a 90-day introduction, a reintroduction to Miss Harris, a reintroduction to Adonai Community Mission, a reintroduction to Break the Cycle. We're doing a 90-day introduction to the programs, to the services, to what we've done in the past and our vision for the future. 90 days. Intense in each one of these cities. Mom Harris and I, Mom Harris has a blueprint that she used to set up a tent and have the community come to the tent and get connected with the services that our programs would offer there in that community while the transitional house was being built or renovated or whatever. That's the model. So the reason we're hiring now is because we're not going to wait for the renovations to be done in the offices in Orlando, Florida. We're entering into lease agreements, lease to own agreements, purchase agreements with properties in Florida. Mom Harris already has the properties in Trenton. She owns them already. But as the renovations and the plans for the renovations, and as we work with architects, I have an architect that I'm also documenting this. My children will forever continue our grandparents' legacy with this same architect going forward in the future. When we design plans for whole communities, I'm not talking about a multi-family unit. We're talking about wellness, lifestyle communities. So that we can go to the county and say, yo, we can take 500 of your aging out foster children, and we have employment for them, we have schools for them, we have jobs for them, we have development initiatives. That is what Adonai Community Mission number 1. That's what you're applying for. That's what you're signing up for. All right. So, as you can see, all of you can sign into this and log in. You are going to get a mobile app that you can log in and punch in on your phones wherever you are. Okay? So, let's just go down some of the... I have another partner. We have another partner here in Florida. So, this partner right here, this organization is called S&D Enterprises. So, my family personally has been involved in prison ministries at the highest level all around the world. I have an uncle by the name of Richard Bland. I'll show you his videos later on. He's 78 years old. He has a global prison ministry where he and his wife, every single state penitentiary in the United States of America, state penitentiaries, every single one in the United States of America receives spiritual books, The Great Controversy, The Desire of Ages, a pamphlet series that he wrote himself called What Does the Bible Say? Not all these myths that and superstitions that down through time individuals have added to Christianity and added. What does the Bible say? And for the first time in these people's lives, they go that it asks them a question. What does the Bible say about what happens to you when you die? And most of them have some myth or some superstition about that. But his question has a text where the Bible speaks about what happens when you die. And then it requires them to go to that text and write down on the line what the Bible actually says happens when you die. And what's shocking to the inmates is what they have been taught and what they believe does not match up with what the Bible actually says. How does that happen? How does that happen? Individuals claim that they're following a certain individual or certain God or certain commandment keeping, blah, 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 and you have beliefs and you have a book that you claim you're following, and then when you read the book, the belief that you have about day-to-day life does not match which is written, and that's why he wrote it. He has sent millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies all throughout the world. And he has inmates who have transformed their lives by actually knowing what the word says. But there's millions and millions and millions all over the country and all over the world of these inmates who have made transformations inside based off of truth. And we all know that the system is not in the business of rehabilitation. And so organizations like S&D are about breaking the negative cycle of individuals coming out, not having the resources, and going back in because the system does not rehabilitate. So if the system doesn't rehabilitate, where are the organizations that are going to do the transformational work so our individuals aren't locked up like in cages? S&D. They have put together, this is one of our partners here in Orlando, Florida. They have put together 12 homes with 60 inmates in it, and I salute them. Back in January of last year, I was in a construction course planning to help them train individuals to get certifications so that they can get gainful employment and stay out when they're staying in their residence. We're in the program, and back then at that time, I think they only had 5 houses. So in less than a year, S&D has doubled from 5 houses to 12 houses with 60 individuals. I salute and applaud them. But to provide these services to these people, they need business partners who can help with transportation. 60 individuals that have to go to court appointed services and all of that. They need transportation to and fro. These individuals don't have vehicles. That takes a business entity that's willing to go and say, Mr. Car Dealer. These individuals are now being employed by our organization, I.T.B. Break the Cycle LLC, and they need transportation to and from their services, to and from wherever the court has mandated that they need to go to be able to stay out, and they need transportation to and from work. They need transportation to transport their children to events, them to an event. We need transportation. That's what businesses do. They purchase fleets and they provide transportation services. And then you pay me, I.T.B. Break the Cycle, and I hire you to provide transportation services for S&D. It's called business. S&D Enterprises, Inc. Mr. Damon Leggett. S&D Enterprises, CDC, Inc. is a sober living transitional home that gives women a second chance in life. Our program is a 12-month program established to provide ex-offenders, veterans, and the homeless with a safe residence while they transition back into society. These individuals have survived domestic abuse, sex trafficking, substance abuse, and mental health issues, and have recently been released from the various institutions with no place to go. We are in need of a vehicle or vehicles to transport these women to various destinations. Your vehicle is an essential part in transporting our residents to their classes, appointments, employment, NA meetings, AA meetings, and other requirements that are a part of their healing and rebuilding processes. The need for transportation for us is even greater than the average business because we provide dignified reentry services for those who have no family support. No family support. Once again, we're going to come back to those who claim that they serve a God. That said, the grade for getting into the kingdom is what you have done on the least of these, my brethren. Once again, we got a group of people claiming that they serve a God. And the God said the one grade on who's going to get to the kingdom. He said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. The few individuals that I put in your life that are worse off than you." I'm going to say it another way. If you are punching a clock day to day and you are not connected with any of the groups and you are not in the group that he said, the faithful servants come over here on my right. And he said, the goats, y'all like associating with the GOAT, Michael Jordan. The goats, he says, stand on the left. And the goats was destroyed. They was worthless. A goat is a person that worries about themselves. Because God said it's better to give than to receive. He said, think not about what you will eat and what you will wear. He said, if you know how to give good gifts to your children, and if you call me your heavenly father, but you don't trust in me to be able to provide for you, I'm not down there anymore. The one purpose that I have for my children out of down there is to do the work that I stopped doing when I came to the kingdom. And you going into a job, calling yourself my child, but the work that I was doing has been abandoned. And you worrying about paying your rent and paying your bills and paying your bill, but the work that I was doing and when I came home, you were supposed to do. But because you believe in institutions that you could see, you abandon my work and then you complain when the devourer penalizes you for not doing the work that you was created to do. And in the group that he says, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, are all of the people that call themselves his children. He said, I never knew you. Because if you not doing the work of my father, he already told you not my family. He like you wasting your time going to church. You're wasting your time worshiping. I'm just going to keep it raw and 100. This is what my grandparents, no education, no education. Y'all made an idol out of degrees. Y'all made an idol out of educational institutions. My grandma ain't even finished high school. But every move my grandma made was by the leading and the guidance of the Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit. Every move my grandfather made. We got some families that's still in poverty. In one generation, my grandfather and grandmother, no traditional school education. But all of the members in their family could rely on them when they needed to get their children who was being destroyed by drugs in the community. They had created the innkeeper, the Good Samaritan transformational house where all five sides of our family could count on them. No school. No. We not following your blueprint at all. No. Our grandparents raised the bar. So that's a 40-minute segment. I'm gonna pause on this one. We'll come back with segment 2.